My wife kept her ex-boyfriend's sweatshirt in our closet. Navy blue with some university logo I didn't recognize. I saw it probably 6 months after we got married, maybe 7, hanging in the back behind my winter coats. I asked Sarah about it while we were doing laundry one weekend. She said it was Marcus's from college, that she'd had it forever. I asked why she still had her ex-boyfriend's sweatshirt, and she laughed like I'd said something funny. Called me insecure. Said it was just comfortable for sleeping in. I didn't push it because making a scene about a sweatshirt seemed crazy. But I noticed she wore it a lot after that. Or maybe she always wore it, and I just started paying attention. Hard to say. Sarah and I met when we were 26. She talked about her college friends constantly. Marcus's name came up more than others, but I didn't think much of it at first. They'd dated for 3 years, stayed friends after. She said it was mature. That they'd moved past the relationship stuff. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. My ex from high school blocked me on everything after we broke up, so staying friends seemed like emotional intelligence or whatever. We got married 2 years after meeting. Small ceremony. Mostly family. Sarah invited Marcus and his girlfriend. I remember watching them hug at the reception. It lasted a while. Too long maybe. But weddings are emotional. People hug. The apartment was mine before Sarah. My uncle died and left it to me. Fully paid off. 2 bedrooms in a decent neighborhood. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Sarah moved in with her stuff, and we combined everything like you do. Marcus texted Sarah constantly. Morning messages about coffee. Afternoon check-ins. Late night conversations. She'd be lying next to me scrolling through their thread, laughing at jokes I didn't understand. I mentioned once that it seemed like a lot of communication. Sarah said I had trust issues. That healthy people maintain friendships with exes. That maybe if I was more secure I wouldn't feel threatened. They had lunch every Thursday. I asked to join once. Sarah got this look on her face and said Marcus might feel weird because Thursdays were their thing. I asked when it became their thing. She said I was being controlling. Our 2nd anniversary, I made reservations at the restaurant from our first date. Bought her this necklace she'd mentioned wanting. Sarah completely forgot. Didn't remember until I brought up the reservation that morning. She apologized but seemed distracted. That same week was Marcus's birthday. She spent hours picking out his gift. Some vinyl record he'd mentioned months before. Had to cost at least $200. My birthday 2 months earlier she got me socks. Things got worse on a Tuesday around 11 at night. Maybe it was a Wednesday. We were in bed and Sarah's phone rang. Marcus. She answered immediately and went to the living room. I could hear her voice through the door. Comforting sounds. She came back an hour later saying Marcus had a fight with his girlfriend. I asked if it couldn't wait until morning. She looked at me like I'd suggested something horrible. Marcus started coming over more after that. Just showing up without calling. He'd walk in and go straight to the fridge. Make food with groceries I bought. Sarah never said anything. One Saturday he showed up at 8 in the morning. Let himself in. I was making breakfast and suddenly he was there pouring coffee. I asked Sarah later when she gave him a key. She said for emergencies. That it made sense for him to have access. I said I wasn't comfortable with her ex having a key to our place. She called me paranoid. I started noticing Marcus had a toothbrush in our bathroom. His beer in the fridge. A jacket by the door. When I mentioned this, Sarah said I was keeping score of ridiculous things. That Marcus left stuff here because he visited often, and it was easier than carrying everything back and forth. Found them looking at apartments online one night. Both on the couch with Sarah's laptop between them. Scrolling through listings in our neighborhood. I asked what they were doing. Sarah said Marcus was thinking of moving closer. The listing was a studio. Marcus lived with his girlfriend. I asked why he needed a studio. Sarah said maybe they were having problems. That she was helping him figure out options. My friend James pulled me aside after a few beers one night. Said everyone at our wedding thought Sarah and Marcus were still together. The way they touched. The inside jokes. James assumed they dated recently. I brought this up to Sarah. She said James was stirring drama. That he was jealous of functional friendships. My sister visited for a weekend. Lasted one day, before asking what was going on with the guy who kept showing up. I explained about Marcus. Their friendship. She looked at me for a long time and asked if I was serious. Said it wasn't normal. The key. The toothbrush. The constant contact. She said Sarah was treating Marcus like her boyfriend, and me like an annoying roommate. I wanted to disagree but couldn't. Sarah went on a camping trip with college friends. No spouses allowed. She was gone 4 days. Barely texted. Came back with hundreds of photos. Half were of her and Marcus. By the fire. Hiking. One of them in the same sleeping bag. I asked about the sleeping bag. Sarah said their tent was crowded and they were saving space. I asked who else was in the tent. She hesitated, said just the two of them, but 4 other people were in the tent next door, so it wasn't like they were alone. My hands started shaking. I put down my glass, asked her to explain how sharing a tent with her ex was appropriate. She said I'd clearly never been camping with friends. Few weeks later, Sarah mentioned Marcus broke up with his girlfriend. She seemed upset. Spent the evening texting him. Went out for dinner to check on him. Came home after midnight. I was awake. Asked how he was. Sarah said devastated. That she'd need to spend more time with him while he processed things. I said maybe he should process with someone who wasn't a married woman. Sarah's face went red. Called me cruel and unsupportive. Next day, I came home to find Marcus on our couch crying. Sarah sitting close with her hand on his knee. They looked up when I walked in. Sarah gave me this look like I was interrupting something private. In my own apartment, I went to the bedroom and closed the door. Sat on the bed. Marcus left maybe an hour later. Sarah came in asking why I'd been so rude. Said my energy was hostile. Started sleeping in the second bedroom after that. Told Sarah I needed space. She barely noticed. Was on the phone with Marcus most nights anyway. James called one Saturday. Asked to meet for breakfast. At the diner, he looked uncomfortable. Finally said he'd seen Sarah and Marcus at a movie theater holding hands in line. I felt like I might throw up. Asked if he was sure. He said completely sure. Confronted Sarah that night. She denied it. Then said maybe their hands touched briefly. Then admitted they held hands but Marcus needed physical comfort. I asked if she understood how that sounded. She said I was twisting innocent friendship into something dirty. We fought for hours. I brought up everything. The sweatshirt. The key. The camping. She said every single thing was normal friend behavior. That I was too insecure to handle her having close male friends. I asked her to choose. Set boundaries with Marcus, or I was done. She laughed. Said she wasn't choosing between her husband and best friend. That asking was manipulative. Moved into the second bedroom permanently. Started looking at lawyers. The apartment was mine from my uncle. I needed to know if that mattered. Found a lawyer named Rebecca Chen. Free consultation. She explained inherited property stays with the inheriting spouse unless it's been mixed with marital assets. Since the apartment was paid off and only in my name, Sarah had no claim. I almost cried in her office. Just knowing I had options made everything feel less impossible. Rebecca laid out the process. File for divorce. Keep apartment. Split shared assets. Sarah would need to find her own place. Would take a few months. I left and sat in my car for 20 minutes staring at the steering wheel. Then drove to James's house. Asked if I could crash on his couch. Went back to the apartment when Sarah was at work. Packed essentials. Left a note saying we needed to talk, and I was staying with a friend. Sarah called 17 times that night. I didn't answer. She texted saying I was dramatic and childish. That running away wouldn't solve anything. That Marcus was trying to help her understand how to deal with me. I texted back that I filed for divorce. She'd be getting papers. She called immediately screaming. Said I couldn't kick her out of her home. I reminded her it was my home. My inheritance. My name on the deed. She said that wasn't fair. That we'd lived there 5 years together. I said those 5 years she spent prioritizing Marcus. That I was done competing for last place. The papers were served at her work 2 days later. Rebecca advised doing it there for the record. Sarah called from the parking lot crying. Said she couldn't believe I was really doing this. I asked if she was still talking to Marcus. She said of course. He was supporting her through this. I hung up. Rebecca warned Sarah might fight for the apartment anyway. Sure enough, her lawyer sent a response demanding half the value. Rebecca laughed when she read it. Sent back documentation showing it was separate property. Sarah's lawyer went quiet after that. My sister came to stay at James's place for a weekend. Hugged me when she arrived. Said she was proud. I finally stood up for myself. She asked if I thought Sarah actually cheated with Marcus. I said I didn't know. Maybe emotionally. Maybe physically. Did it matter? The result was the same. Divorce dragged on for months. Sarah kept trying to negotiate for money. Rebecca shut down every attempt. We had minimal shared assets, and I kept records of what I paid for separately. I moved back to the apartment when Sarah finally left. Changed all the locks first thing. Went through every room removing anything of hers. Found Marcus's sweatshirt in the back of the closet. She'd left it. I threw it in the trash. Then felt stupid for caring about a sweatshirt. Pulled it back out and donated it to Goodwill instead. Someone else's problem now. My friend David helped repaint the living room. Spent a Saturday covering the beige Sarah picked with dark blue I'd always wanted. The work felt good. Sarah tried calling a few times over the next months. I never answered. She sent emails saying she missed me. That maybe we made a mistake. I deleted them. Heard through mutual friends she and Marcus moved in together right after the divorce finalized. Part of me wanted to feel right about everything. Mostly I just felt tired and sort of empty. The apartment's quiet now. I keep it cleaner. Make dinner for myself. Started going to a gym nearby, though I only make it maybe twice a week if I'm being honest. Some mornings I wake up and reach for someone who isn't there. Then remember and feel relieved. Or I think it's relief. Hard to tell sometimes. I'm not dating. Rebecca said that's normal. That I need time to figure out what I want. My sister visits once a month. We have dinner. She asks how I'm doing. I say okay and mean it maybe 60% of the time. Saw Sarah and Marcus at a coffee shop last month. They were having breakfast in the corner. His arm around her shoulders. She looked happy. I got my coffee and left before they saw me. Went home to my apartment. Made breakfast in my kitchen. Sat on my couch without anyone making me feel like I was in the way. Divorce has been final for 8 months. I own the apartment outright. No mortgage. No ex-wife. No toothbrushes that aren't mine. Sometimes that feels like enough. Other times it feels empty in a way I don't know how to fix. My friend James asked last week if I was ready to start dating. I said I didn't know. He set me up with his cousin anyway. Coffee date next Tuesday. I'm not sure I want to go. But I'm not sure I don't want to go either. Seems like that's how everything feels lately. Uncertain. In between. The apartment still has the blue walls David and I painted. I hung some photos my sister took. Got new furniture for the living room. Threw out the couch Sarah picked, because every time I sat on it, I thought about finding her and Marcus there. I cook more now. Trying new recipes. Had my sister over for dinner last week, and she said the pasta was actually good. Seemed surprised. Work is fine. Same job I had before. Nobody there knows about the divorce except my boss, and he doesn't bring it up. I appreciate that. Sometimes I think about texting Sarah. Asking questions I never got answers to. When did it start with Marcus? Was I imagining things? Did she ever actually love me? But I never send the texts. Just write them out and delete them. Usually around 2 in the morning when I can't sleep. The lawyer bills are finally paid off. That took longer than I expected. Rebecca was worth it though. She got me through the whole thing without losing the apartment. I still see Marcus's toothbrush sometimes in my head. That stupid navy sweatshirt. The way Sarah's face looked when she laughed about me being insecure. My therapist says I need to work through the resentment. I started seeing her 3 months ago. Twice a month. She's helpful, I think. Or I'm telling myself she's helpful. One of those. The date with James's cousin is tomorrow. Her name is Linda. I know nothing else about her. James says she's nice. That's all he said. Nice. I'm going to go. Probably. Unless I cancel in the morning. Haven't decided yet. The apartment is mine and that matters. I keep telling myself that matters. Most days I believe it. My mom called yesterday, asking when I was going to start dating seriously. I told her about Linda, and she sounded excited. Too excited. Made me want to cancel just to avoid disappointing her later. I don't know what I'm doing with any of this. The apartment feels like mine now, but also doesn't. Like I'm living in a space that's supposed to belong to someone else. Sarah's ghost is everywhere even though I threw out most of her stuff. There's a coffee stain on the kitchen counter I can't get out. She spilled it maybe a year before we split. I scrubbed it when she first left. Used every cleaner I could find. It's still there. Faded but visible. Sometimes I think about moving. Getting a different place without any history. But this apartment is paid off and moving is expensive, and I'm tired of changing everything. David asked if I wanted to go out this weekend. Some bar downtown. I said maybe. He knows that means no, but he keeps asking anyway. Good friend like that. Work was weird today. Ran into this woman from accounting I talked to a few times before the divorce. She asked how Sarah was, and I had to explain we split up. She looked uncomfortable and changed the subject fast. I don't blame her. Need to remember to call the cable company tomorrow. They've been overcharging me for 3 months. Keep meaning to deal with it, but never do. Add it to the list of things I'm putting off. The date is in 14 hours. I tried on 3 different shirts tonight before realizing I was being ridiculous. It's coffee. Doesn't matter what I wear. But I kept thinking about what if she asks why I got divorced. Do I tell the truth about Sarah and Marcus? Do I make something up? Say we grew apart or some generic thing people say? My therapist says I should be honest, but not dump everything on a first date. That makes sense probably. I don't know. James texted asking if I was nervous. I said no. That was a lie. My hands have been shaking on and off all day. Found another one of Sarah's things today. A book she'd been reading. Stuck behind the nightstand. I threw it in a bag with other stuff to donate. Couldn't remember what the book was about 5 minutes later. My sister sent me a recipe she wants me to try. Chicken something. I looked at it for maybe 2 seconds before closing the message. I'll get to it eventually. The gym membership I got is mostly wasted. I've been maybe 6 times total. Keep meaning to go more. Add it to the list with the cable company. Tried to fix the bathroom sink yesterday. There's a leak I've been ignoring for weeks. Watched a YouTube video about it. Made it worse somehow. Need to call a plumber, but that costs money. Money's been tight since the divorce. Not terrible, but tighter than before. Lawyer fees mostly. Worth it to keep the apartment, but still. Linda's profile picture that James showed me makes her look nice. Normal. She works in marketing or advertising or something. I can't remember which. Should probably remember that before tomorrow. Set 3 alarms for the morning, because I have this fear I'll sleep through them and miss the date. Even though I'm not sure I want to go. Brain doesn't make sense lately. Sarah posted something on social media yesterday. I know because my sister told me. She doesn't know I have Sarah blocked everywhere. The post was about new beginnings or some vague thing like that. My sister asked if I was okay and I said yes. That was also a lie. I'm not okay. Just existing in this weird space between being fine and not being fine. Everything feels muted. Like I'm watching my life happen instead of living it. David suggested I try a dating app. I downloaded one and stared at the profile creation screen for 20 minutes before deleting the app. Too much pressure. Too many questions about who I am and what I want. I don't know what I want. That's the problem. Or maybe it's not a problem. Maybe it's normal after what happened. The coffee date is at a place near the park. I've never been there. Linda picked it. James gave her my number, and she texted suggesting it. I said okay, because I couldn't think of a reason to say no that didn't sound insane. Her last text was friendly. Casual. Said she was looking forward to meeting me. I didn't know how to respond to that, so I just sent a thumbs up emoji. Felt stupid after sending it. Need to clean the apartment before bed. It's not terrible, but there are dishes in the sink and laundry on the chair. Company's not coming over, but I can't relax when things are messy. Found one of Marcus's beers in the back of the fridge last week. I don't know how I missed it when I cleaned everything out. Threw it away and felt angry for hours after. Stupid to be angry about a beer. My boss asked if I wanted to work on this new project. I said yes because saying no seemed like giving up on something. Haven't started it yet. It's due in 2 weeks. The list of things I'm procrastinating on keeps getting longer. Call cable company. Fix sink. Start work project. Clean apartment properly. Figure out what to say on a date. Maybe I should cancel. Tell Linda something came up. James would be disappointed, but he'd understand. Or he'd try to understand, and I'd feel guilty either way. It's midnight now. Need to sleep. Alarms set for 7. Coffee date at 10. 6 hours to sleep and 3 hours to talk myself out of going. Or into going. Still haven't decided which. The apartment's quiet, except for the fridge humming. Same sound it's made for years. Comforting in a weird way. Sarah used to complain about the fridge noise. Said it kept her awake. I never noticed it until she mentioned it, and then I couldn't stop noticing. Now I notice it again, because she's not here to complain about it. Everything's like that. Things she used to do or say or complain about. They're gone but also not gone. Just existing in the space where she used to be. I'm going to try to sleep. Maybe tomorrow will make more sense. Or maybe it won't and I'll just keep existing like this. Either way, the apartment's mine. That has to count for something.